Allie. As she mentioned, I write romance novels, so I'm going to kind of lighten things up after. So I started writing when I was about 15 years old, and 6 months after that, I stumbled across my first romance novel. I was home for summer break. I lived in Mount Albert at the time, and all my friends lived in Newmarket, so there wasn't much to do. And my mom had left her library books out. So on the coffee table was a red book with a nice big crown on the front. It was called The Pirate Prince by an author named Galen Foley. I picked it up, and I looked on the back, and there was a guy hanging from some riggings, and his shirt was open, and I thought, this looks really silly. But I read the blurb, and I really liked the sound of it, so I started reading. When my mom came home from work that afternoon, she started collecting her books to take back to the library. She said, can you get me the book, that red book on the coffee table? I said, no, I'm reading that. Oh, no, you're not. Well, I am. So she asked me how far I was into it. I said, I'm 100 pages in. So I think she knew it was a lost cause, that there wasn't going to be anything to stop me from finishing that book. So she told me, don't tell your father. And that's how I started reading romance. Sorry, my mask is giving me issues here. So yeah, I started writing romance. I switched to romance when I was in my 20s. When I was originally writing YA and fantasy type stuff, which I was writing at 15, so it was awful. And now I think I've developed a lot in the last couple decades. So I currently have, as was mentioned, I've got about 20 books. They're various lengths. So I've got about 4 novels and 8 novellas and a bunch of short stories. Some of them are published with Ecstasy Books, and a few of them are published with a company called Changeling Press, and I'm starting a paranormal romance that should be out in March, and I'm going to self-publish that one. So if everything goes well with the self-publishing aspect of it, I'm hoping to do a little bit with the publishers and a little bit on my own, and depending on which book is doing what. A little bit about me. I went to school at the University of Toronto. I studied English and history there. I took a few writing courses while I was there, and one of the stories that I turned in had a love scene in it. And the teacher had asked everyone, like, well, what did we think of that? And I said, well, we haven't talked about it yet, so I'm thinking people maybe don't want to discuss it. And everyone said, no, it was the best part of the story. So I thought, okay, maybe this is where I'm going to go. So I switched to a little bit more erotic stuff. And so my scenes are pretty explicit, and the language in it is explicit. I joined the RWA a while ago. I'm no longer a member because of some of the drama stuff that's gone on there. If you're not familiar with the RWA, it's the Romance Writers of America. And it was a massive organization. Through them, I joined their online erotic chapter, which was called Passionate Inc. And through that, I came across the pitching opportunities. So they were done online. You send your blurb into the editor, and they give it a read. If they like it, they request the manuscript. I sent My Mrs. Homemaster in to them in 2016, and they offered me a contract. And I was just floored. I had pitched a couple times before, back in 2010, live to a couple agents and editors, but received rejection letters from them. Understandably so. I was about 22 at the time. So I've been published for about 5 years now. Sorry, my screen went blank. And yeah, I think that about wraps it up. So if you guys have any questions, my table's over at the back. I've got most of my stories with me. I'll pull out the covers for the ones that are coming up this spring that are more paranormal. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.